how to remove and install a chainsaw chain. Changing the chain on a standard chainsaw may seem like a daunting task, but with these easy steps, it's a breeze. Learn how to safely remove the chainsaw chain and replace it properly. No longer will you have to take your chainsaw in somewhere and pay to have the chain replaced. After watching the steps in this video, you will be on your way to a successful do-it-yourself repair. The only tools needed for this repair is a flathead screwdriver and a 1/2-inch socket wrench. Step 1. Loosen the chain tension on the side panel. Start by locating the little screw on the front of the side panel. Using your flathead screwdriver, begin to loosen this all the way. Loosening this loosens the chain tension, making it easier for you to get the side plate off. Now that we loosen the tensioning screw, it's time to remove the guide bar side panel altogether. The side plate on most chainsaws will most likely be held on by 2 nuts. Using the 1/2-inch socket wrench, unscrew the nuts and remove the plate to access the chain. A chainsaw's brake is sometimes attached to the guide bar's side plate. If your chainsaw's brake is attached to its side plate, make sure to unlock the brake first. Removing the side plate with the brake in the lock position can make it really difficult or impossible to reinstall. Now that the guide bar side panel is off, we can now move on to step 3 and remove the old chain. The chain will easily remove from the guide bar with all that slack in it. Pull the drive links out of the guide bar and slip the other end of the chain around the clutch drum. This concludes the removing of the old chain. After the first 3 steps on removing the old chain, we can now move on to step 4 and work on installing the new chain. Carefully thread your new or recently sharpened chain around the chainsaw's clutch drum, making sure that the drive links engage in the sprocket. Thread the rest of the drive links into the guide bar and around its nose. With the new chain properly installed on the guide bar, we need to make sure the guide bar is aligned right. Put some tension onto the chain by pulling the nose of the guide bar away from the chainsaw. While pulling on the guide bar, make sure to seat it onto the saw's adjustment pin and sprocket. Now that the guide bar is aligned properly, the side plate is ready to go back on. Replace the plate and the nuts that hold it into position, but do not tighten the nuts down all the way yet. The guide bar must be allowed to move a little while the chain is tightened to the correct tension. In addition to replacing the side plate, we now need to tighten the chain to the correct tension. Use the tensioning screw on the front of the side plate to adjust the chain tension. Be sure to keep firm pressure with the screwdriver onto the bolt to make sure the screwdriver doesn't slip off the bolt. If you are able to see the drive links, that is a good sign to let you know that the chain is way too loose. Make sure the chain is fairly tight, leaving only enough slack for the chain to float on the guide bar. After tightening the chain, you're ready to move on to step 8 and finish tightening the side plate nuts. Using your 1/2 inch socket wrench, torque these nuts down as tight as you can. The last thing you want when you're cutting is to have your guide bar loose and wiggling around. As you can see, changing your chainsaw chain on your own isn't hard after all. You will save time and money by not taking your chainsaw in somewhere and paying to have the chain replaced. Not only do you save time and money, but you also learn new skills during the process. After successfully completing the above steps, you will no longer look at replacing your chainsaw as being a daunting task.